So I've been trying to sort of understand this engine page a bit more because I don't think I fully understood it before. So I've looked up a bit on turbo shaft engines. And who knows, it might help somebody else understand the engine page a bit more. So on the left here, we got the intake, which is what brings in that cold air that allows the engine to work. We've got the power shaft right by here. That is what transfers power from the power turbine over here and sends it through a bevel gear up, well, it might be a different type of gear, but it could be a bevel gear up into the transmission and then any accessories. So, you know, it's powering the main rotor, tail rotor, stuff like that. And then here we've got the compressor stages. This is on the compressor shaft. The compressor shaft is coaxial to the power shaft but is not connected. So this is free to spin relative to this. So what will happen is air will come in, it gets compressed in these, gets compressed more, and it comes to this centrifugal compressor which checks the air up here, increasing this pressure as well, and then it flows through a duct of some sorts to the burning chamber. So the Apache is very clever. It has its own sort of fuel management system, engine management system, and basically that's going to control how much fuel is coming into this little doodad here. And what's going to happen is as you increase fuel, it's going to be burning a lot more here, and you're going to get more and more heat. So all of these air molecules are going to be coming through these tiny little holes, or maybe not even that tiny to be fair, in the whatever material it is. And that's going to be cooling down this air temperature from easily metal melting temperatures down to a temperature that is doable, I say, for the engine. So then this is all hot air, comes down here into this chamber. You've got these stators by here. They are stationary, so they don't actually turn in relation to these. They're mainly there to orient the flow, going like this, because obviously it's coming over here. You might have some weird induced currents or something, you know, hot air rises, and it might just be a bit of a shit show if you don't have the stators. And then that comes here to the gas producer turbine, or maybe the power turbine first. It honestly depends. So then this here is going to be powering this compressor shaft. So if you remember when starting the Apache's engine, this needs to be about 20 to 25% NG. NG meaning RPM of the gas turbine, the gas producer turbine. So once this gets to 25%, so this is turning at 25% because it's been powered by the APU, which is providing the air it needs to sort of get started. Once this gets to about 20-25%, then this is bringing in enough air that then is self-sustaining without the APU, and then it's kind of like a feedback. So then you add more fuel, which is when you advance the power levers. It then feeds more fuel, which then means there's more power going through here. The compressor will speed up, bring in more air in, increasing the airflow up here, allowing for more burning. After the compressor stage, it goes into the power turbine. The power turbine is what drives the power shaft. Very cool names. Definitely not inventive, at least, but I suppose that's what you want. So this turns and powers the power shaft, which then goes up to the transmission and any accessories you've got there. So the nomenclature for the power shaft normally is going to be NP, here and here. yeah, so that's the nomenclature for the power turbine, nomenclature for the gas producer, NG. I think I might have already said that, but it's there. NP is just repeated here, so this is just a digital readout of these here. And then this is the rotor RPM. So when the Apache starts screaming at you, that's because that's got a bit too low, about there. I think it's 95%, it'll start screaming at you. And that's just a visual way of seeing that. Over here, you've got the TGT, which is, I believe, the... Come on, I can remember it. I think it's the turbine gas temperature. So what that is measuring is that is going to be measuring the air temperature somewhere around here. I'm not entirely sure on that. But it's going to be measuring the air temperature, and it's just making sure that it doesn't get to a limit. About, I think that's the maybe 30-minute warning, and that's, I think, the 10-minute warning. Oh, don't quote me. So just making sure that it doesn't get to a too high of a temperature. If it does get to too high of a temperature, the ECU will shut down the engine, which is good, but also then you're flying up the sky, so you know, you don't really want to be in that position no matter what. For something like the Huey is very, very it doesn't have a particularly good engine. It's only got one engine, and it's not particularly good. It's a very early model helicopter. I think later models increase the engines, I think past the... Oh, no, I'm not going to say it because I know I'll be wrong. But in a helicopter like that, you're really worrying about this. I think in the Huey it calls it the gas producer. It's like a little dial on the console. And you're really worrying about that, because if you go too high, I think the red zone is there or something, and you've got like a green zone. If you go too high up into that red zone, you're going to start burning the engine. And if you've ever done that and go in F2, you'll see the flames will start coming out the back of the turboshaft engine, and that's just because it's too hot and it's melting everything. Because sadly, the Huey doesn't have the same electronics as the lovely venerable Apache. So when you're actually looking at this in flight, what you're mainly looking at is you're going to be looking at the rotor RPM, making sure you're not drooping that rotor. If you're drooping that rotor, likelihood is the engine temperature is going to be somewhere around here, maybe a bit below, and that's just because the ECU is just trying to add more fuel and more fuel to try and keep this rotor from drooping. But I believe in the Apache, the gearbox is actually the limiting factor. So you'll actually be going into torque issues before you run into a TGT issue. That is unless you have an engine failure. For example, if you get some battle damage, that will probably, I think if you go on the engine page, it'll say a number up here or something, and it'll just give you a countdown to how long it can realistically stay there. I'm not sure how well that's modelled. Once again, I could be completely talking about my house here. But this is... one last thing. This here is also repeated down here. I just couldn't be bothered to draw it, and I also needed space for writing. That, I hope, is explained some of what the... specifically the Apache. Hopefully that's explained what this page is all about. Once again, I could be talking about my ass. So, yeah. Have a good one.